Sorry, I've been dreading it. I woke up at 3 a.m. tonight, and the thought that I had was, who am I forgetting? So I promise, if I did forget you, I already feel bad about it. Okay, first of all, honor to my wife, Kaylene Harris. Kaylene, if she could change one thing about me, it would be that there's less events happening. And when I was organising this wedding, when we were organising this wedding, I think people organised a roster where they would call me every 45 minutes just to remind me that it's the most important day of our lives and we want to be stressed. I think there's something deeply cultural about it. I was worried about how Kaylene would tend for it, because if we were up to take Kaylene, we wouldn't have had a big wedding, we would have had a small wedding, it would have been in the forest somewhere, and it would have been just comfortable and nourishing. And instead, we had a huge, huge undertaking. It was a sacrifice for her, and all the way through, she had nothing but dignity and grace. And not only that, but she surprised me and rose above, and I started taking leads from her. She showed leadership, so round of applause for Kaylene.
That Christian organised like 98% of this. I did not do very much. So thank you.
Now, before I continue, can I ask for people in the dining room please join us? Can you please get the attention of people in the dining room? Because I can see 2 people in there that I want to thank. And they're not here yet.
Dining room.
If a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to thank it. Okay, are you present? Are you ready? Honor to Freya. Freya Flamingo, Freya Chafers. Freya, would you like to come here and give everybody a wave? I only met Freya 2 years ago. All of the furniture that you're looking at, all of it, the beautiful furniture, that's all hers. It's all hers. She arranged for a wall to be brought here. Round of applause for Freya. All of the beautiful tablecloths and lamp tazzine is also Freya, because she didn't have enough to do. Round of applause, please. Okay, when I'm thanking you, if you want to come forward so people can see your face, please do, but no pressure. Honor to Nicholas and Tiffany. And to their families, Glynis, Jamie from Flair Floral. So, Nicholas, okay, a while ago I went to Blazing Swan and Tiffany had a broken leg. And I didn't know anybody, well, I knew fucking everybody there. Yeah. But in terms of mental health, I was down in the dumps. So Tiffany was my safe space. So I became friends with Tiffany. And since then, I've gotten to know Nick, her husband. A couple of times, they've been unwell, and so I cooked a whole bunch of food and taken it to them because I knew that they were sick. So imagine, the food that I cooked them and the time that it took is probably 4 hours worth of cooking, and because of Spudshed, like $60. The last time I took them food, they were like, is anybody doing your flowers? And I was like, no, we're too stressed, we're not thinking about it. They looked at one another, paused, and then said, can we do the flowers? All of this that you see, it's incredible. It's like you pour 1% of cordial into water and you get juice. This is the nature of their generosity. So thank you very much, Nicholas and Tiffany. Thank you. They are going to start their own floral business, and I think they're uncomfortable with me plugging them, but I'll plug them nonetheless. If you want flowers, these people. Honor to Janice Platt, Atta. Where is Janice? I was her husband's best man, and since then she's become one of my best friends. Atta is Tagalog, Filipino, for an older sister whom you respect. call her Atta. She calls me Kuya, younger brother. She did the spreadsheets. That's the worst part of the wedding. Honor to Atta. Honor to my sister-in-law, Shannon Murray. I've known Shannon a very, very long time. I feel like we've gotten to know each other. The way that I've gotten to know you with how you stepped in, I knew you as a sister-in-law, but now I know you as a champion and somebody to whom I am deeply grateful, and I am flabbergasted for everything that you've done. Shannon was a person who was stepping in, having been married before, and stopped me from having a heart attack at the tender age of 35. So honor to Shannon. You might not realise it looking at me now, but when I was in year 8, I was a complete and utter animal. You wouldn't have wanted to know me when I was in year 8, I was a psychopath. Honestly, we're talking Grand Theft Auto kind of stuff. My best friend at the time, and he's stuck with me still, is Mitchell Fraser, my best man. Where is he? There. You might have noticed that I have 12 groomsmen. I'm a nerd, and so Greek mythology is very important to me, so I wanted to have the 12 Greek gods of the dodecaphion, which are personality archetypes, which means in having 12 groomsmen and him as best man, he had the hardest job in the history of mankind for being a groomsman, because he had people who their personality types were going to clash. I got basically the tarot cards as my groomsmen. And Mitchell has impressed everybody. I think everybody looks at Mitchell now in a way which is completely deserving and stellar. So a round of applause for Mitchell Fraser. Round of applause for Joss, Carpenfay, for Cassie, and for Martha for their photography. As I say this, I want you to know, everything you're seeing is the power of friendship. No money is changing hands. Any money that's changing hands is just basic materials. Everything you're seeing is the power of friendship. So round of applause for Cassie, for Joss, my old neighbours from Arundel Street, to Roger and Victoria, and Hunter and Sue for paying for the booze you're drinking tonight. Honour to Sam Platt, who brewed the beer that we drink from the keg. Now, I know that you're going to want to step forward. The most handsome man in the venue, Alex, here, who consulted me on my suit and gave me advice. Honour to the musicians who are playing at drastically reduced prices, and Chrissy, who's doing this for free once again. Okay, now this part is going to take at least 90 seconds. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. It will take about 90 seconds. You can do this. I don't want to rush it because I want to take it seriously. These are the people that I want to honour for making me the man that Kaylene would marry. If you knew me when I was younger, I don't think Kaylene would have married me. There are people who made me the person that I am so that Kaylene would marry me, and I'm going to acknowledge them here today. Honour to my older brother, Benjamin Murray. There are times where I'm dead certain that I'm right, and he is the man who will tell me that I'm wrong, and I trust him. So honor to my brother. Honour to my mother, Anne Murray. Where is she? The most important thing for Mum raising my brother and I, it sounds trivial, it's not significant, was manners. It was manners, it was common courtesy and considering another person before you consider yourself, and that's one of the things, one of the core things the basil and the bolognese of the recipe of our relationship that made her fall in love with me. So thank you, Mum, for giving me manners. Okay, we're going to do these all together and then you can clap at the end. Honour to Dr. Jeremy Northcote, my PhD supervisor, for his honesty. Honour to Robert Delves for his sincerity. Honour to Martin Drum for his temperament. Honour to Brad Pettit for his constancy. Honour to Emma McMillan for her example. Honour to Ernst Schultz for his manly mentorship. Honour to Ernest Lennon for his faith and for his character. Honour to my Uncle Johnny, my cousin Lorna, my cousin Aidan, and my Uncle Martin, who came here from the UK. They flew here from the UK to be here tonight. Honour to Jacob O'Leary, who flew here from Tasmania to be here tonight. For the people who aren't here, honour to Hamada and to Michael, who would have been my groomsmen. They would have been my groomsmen, they would have been here. Honour to them as well. Honour to my deceased dad, Christian Murray, Christian Murray II, for my boyish good looks, which made Kaylene fall in love with me. And finally, honour to Kaylene's family, Patricia, Diane, Lionel, and Darryl for raising the woman and putting her in the same city as me, or at least the same state, such that I feel like the happiest and most lucky man in the world. I won't go on much longer. All that I'll say is, I cannot believe how lucky I am to know you all. Everybody that's here tonight, you've done me a kindness in some way. Or you're in a relationship with somebody who has, which means you have excellent judgment. Once again, everything that you're seeing is the power of friendship. In a world that asks for an invoice or for your bank details, fine, that's okay. But look around you at the power of friendship and pat yourself on the back. You've all done me a solid. You've done Kaylene a solid. You've helped us to be good people, and you have our thanks, and we are grateful. Bless you. Round of applause.
Beautiful bride, but maybe Aidan, you could help her off the chair, the Chamber of Commerce chair, I call it. You're on my list, but if you would not like to, I would like to introduce.
I'll say.
Of course you will. Put your hands together for the bride, ladies and gentlemen.
I didn't know I was doing the speech, or if I did, I forgot, which is a common thing for me. So thank you so much for being here. I really, today has just been absolutely magical. From the moment I woke up to the moment I walked through those doors and everybody turned to watch me walking down the aisle, it has been incredible, it has been overwhelming, it's been beautiful. Thank you so much for being here and being part of that magic. I wanted to specifically thank, I think this is probably Aris who is responsible for this, but there is a thumb tree down the back where you can put your finger in some ink and put your fingerprint on a tree of love, and it's adorable. And I absolutely love it, so thank you for that. Yay! I'm going to put my finger on the tree right at the end because I know what's going to happen. I'll put my finger on the tree and then I'll immediately put it on my dress. So, no. Chrissy's already claimed this dress for when she gets married, so I've got to keep it nice. And also a big thank you to Zoe for, Zoe is my oldest bridesmaid. Zoe is absolutely beautiful. I adore Zoe. So, Zoe and I are the proud parents of something called a baby Hermes. It's a little typewriter is down the end there. Hey, Ryan's on it at the moment. If you've never used a typewriter before, it's really fun because you have to really smack it, like smack the keys quite hard to make it go. Zoe paid for about 2/3 of it, I think. I paid for 1/3, so we're like the proud co-parents of this absolutely gorgeous little machine. So thank you so much for agreeing to let me bring it to the wedding. And yeah. I would also like to thank Andrew and Aris. They put in a lot of heavy lifting to getting everything here. Hey, Andrew. Andrew has helped us move us twice, and he helped us move this whole wedding into here. So Freya provided all of the beautiful furniture that you see. Andrew provided the logistics and the great big van that we needed to actually get it here. He gave up his whole Friday for us, and thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Aris, as well. Aris was also a massive heavy lifter, bringing in a lot of beautiful things, helping us move things around, helping us set it all up, making it beautiful. So big thank you. Thank you to all of my bridesmaids. Thank you for my maid of honor as well, Emily. Emily lives north of the river, so I don't see her as much as I should. But she is my oldest friend. She has been a source of like consistency throughout my entire adult life, and I truly appreciate her. Thank you, Emily. Yes. And thank you, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but Santino Galati stepped in very, very last minute to help us with our catering. He has been magnificent. He's been more than generous with everything that he's provided for us tonight. He's feeding the band for us, which is amazing because they provide. Speaking of the band, thank you to the band. They're not here right now. It's one of the oldest charities we have in Australia, I believe. It's also in the UK. So everything we're paying them to be here tonight goes straight back into the Lions Club, straight back into charity. They are magnificent. The absolutely incredible Phil Hatton is their band leader. He's amazing. He's been so generous with his time, helping us set up how the band is going to run and the set list and everything. So a big, big thank you for the Lions Club Big Band. I forgot I had a speech, so there we go. But again, once again, thank you all so much for being here. It's absolutely incredible. I'm completely overwhelmed, in the best way, kind of overwhelmed. And yeah, thank you. Mum, would you like to come to the stage to be speech? Oh, yes, and for that matter, thank you to my parents for raising me. I think they did a pretty good job. My mum is a magnificent woman, my dad is such a charming and funny man, and my brother is such a sweet soul, and thank you for being my family.
So just letting you know, I can see some knees shaking. There's nothing wrong with sitting on the floor. You can sit down if you'd like.
Unlike Kaylene and Christian, public speaking really does my head in, but here we go. Lionel and I would like to welcome and thank all the guests here tonight to the wedding of our daughter Kaylene and to Christian. A huge thank you also for those who helped make this wonderful event possible. When Kaylene told us she was going on a date with a complete stranger that she met on Tinder, of course, we were very nervous. But as you can see, it worked out in the best way possible. A perfect couple sitting before us. Finally, we would like to welcome Christian to our family. So if everyone can raise a glass and welcome Kaylene and Christian. Kaylene and Christian, everybody.
Hail Christian! Lord of us all! We're micromanaging.
I'm not sure if he's still here. I know he came to the ceremony, but I didn't see him. But Jono, if you're still in the audience, thank you for making time tonight. Earlier this week, my auntie Kaylene passed away, and Jonathan is here representing their family, their nuclear family. So thank you so much for coming, and thank you, Auntie Kaylene, in spirit.
Thank you, Di.
We're going to mix this up. I would like to introduce to the stage Raoul. He has a poem for you. Where is the gorgeous man? Can you see him?
Dr. Garola.
Is there a doctor in the house? There's many doctors in this house.
Dr.
Right.
Garola.
If not, we're going to go to Christian's mum. So Anne, can you please put your hands together for Christian's mum, Anne, to address the audience?
Okay. Christian was born at a very early age, way before his time, and he still is. Christian was breeched 7 weeks before his due date. However, I flew to England, and by the time I got there, he was the right way round. He could see the exit and headed straight forward, which is one thing he's not going to do today. Many of you will not know, but sadly his father died of an asthma attack 6 months before he was born. For this reason I thought if I had a boy, I would call him Christian after his father. But then when he was a boy, it was just all too emotional like I get now. Anyway, I thought I can't call him that. Then my cousin Angela came to the hospital. She said, "Isn't it amazing? Your son was born 6 weeks early and on St. Christiana's Day." So, that was it. He was Christian after his father. It was meant to be. His father was a wonderful man that I'll always love. Deep breath, hold on. Can I also say how happy my family and I am to have all of the Mari family here today. It's so lovely. And yes, your father will be so proud of the man that you have become. Absolutely. If ever I lost Christian, this Christian, I wouldn't look around, I'd look up. He would be up a flagpole, up a football post, or on a roof. Dead set serious. He had no reason to be on ground level. Some things never change. On one occasion, when Christian was 6, we were at a friend's, Ingrid and Martin's, son's birthday naming day. At some point, all the children had helium balloons. At some point, Christian let go of his balloon and it floated up and got stuck in a tree. Christian didn't hesitate, he was straight up the tree after his balloon. I didn't want to interrupt the naming day, so I just let him go up the tree because he was always up somewhere. Anyway, up and up he went, 10 metres high. As I looked around, I noticed nobody was watching the naming ceremony. They were all watching Christian up the tree. Anyway, he retrieved the balloon, he brought it down intact, and everyone could breathe again. Kaylene wants and return to terra firma with everything intact. That he met you, Kaylene, his partner and now his wife. And now, family and friends, would you please raise your glasses to Mr. and Mrs. Christian Kaylene.
That was absolutely gorgeous. I think it's best man time. Mitchell, are you here? It's your time. Please put your hands together for Mitchell, the best man.
Alright, here we go. Just, there. That's it. Good evening, everyone. Honestly, I'm honoured to be invited today, let alone, I'm honoured just to be invited here today, let alone be a part of the bridal party, and somehow the best man. It's a huge privilege, but it's also something else. It's revenge. See, exactly 10 years and 43 days ago, Chris stood up and gave a speech like this in my wedding. And ever since that moment, and here we are. I stand before you not just as best man, but as Zeus. And with that rank comes great responsibility. One of them, embarrassing Chris just enough to keep things interesting. So let's get into it. Chris plays Super Smash Bros. With all the items on max. Chris chooses chaos, and if that doesn't tell you everything about his personality, I don't know what will. See, I first met Chris back in 2003 in woodwork class. We'd walk home from school together, often stopping to buy Turkish bread and gin. Because that's what teenage boys do when they're 50-year-old men on the inside. Early on, he gave me this nickname, Duck Man. I remember thinking, who is this guy? I don't want this nickname to stick. I'll avoid it. Little did I know, he lived just 6 houses down from my house. Avoiding it was never going to happen, and instead we became lifelong friends. We spent many afternoons after school just hanging out, watching B movies, playing Smash Bros, and talking about life. Safe to say, I spent a lot of time at Christian's house growing up. Maybe a little too much time if you ask Anne. In fact, those of you who know me from the high school years, know that I didn't have the greatest family role models growing up. So Anne, right?
I'm having a drink now.
I truly have to thank you for being so welcoming to me and being the role model of my life. You and your family have vastly shaped who I am today. One of the things I've always admired about Chris is that he calls people out. Not in a cruel way, but in a way that encourages you to be better. He doesn't let his friends coast. Whether you're a close mate, a stranger, or even a fully patched bikie, Chris will challenge you into talking shit. And somehow people love him for it. You see, love, real love, isn't just about admiring the good bits. That's the easy part. Real love is choosing someone despite their flaws. It's calling each other out when needed, cheering each other on, and growing side by side through all the chaos and nature. That brings me to Kaylene. Chris always wanted to be a great musician, an artist, a creative soul. And then comes along Kaylene, who was actually great at all those things. Talented beyond measure, and somehow patient enough to let Chris keep trying. But more than that, she gets it. She challenges him. She softens his edges without sanding down her ears. And he in turn lights up in a way we've all seen. Together, they're this brilliant mix of eccentricity and balance, with Smash Bros chaos and soulful harmony. And that eclectic, weird, and wonderful community around them, that's just the universe reflecting back the energy they put out. So I'd like to raise a toast to Chris and Kaylene. May your love be like Turkish bread. Warm, a little bit chewy, sometimes dipped into something unexpected, but always worth sharing. To lifelong words and to the art of making each other better. Cheers. Alright, that's all from me. Roll. Can we get up on stage? Real crazy hand for Roll.
Thanks, Mitch. I just want to say I've been out of the country for a while, and Mitchell's been a superstar in keeping me in touch with everything that's been happening here. So it's an absolute honor and privilege to be here. I want to be brief because I know that everyone does not want to hear 20 speeches, and I'm not here to give you a speech. I'm here to read a poem for you. But before I do that, I will briefly say that it was I had never heard of Perth. I didn't know that a place called Western Australia existed when I accepted a job in this city in October 2017. And I moved here. I didn't know a single person. And I get a random email from a person named Christian Maori. I wasn't sure. I thought it was an evangelist or someone from the Mormon church at first trying to convert me. And basically said, I heard that you just moved here from the United States and you don't know anyone. May I please meet you and treat you to a pint of beer at the Sail and Anchor and right around the corner. So I meet this person for a pint at the Sail and Anchor, and that was April 2018, and since we've just been going strong. So I thank you for your amazing, brilliant friendship, Christian. I can't even go over all the conversations and challenges and acceptances, especially when I've been a terrible human being, as we all can be, but like true family, when you're terrible, they love and accept you and come back to you just the same. So thank you. However, I'd like to also let you know that I met his beautiful girlfriend, Kaylene. She is a brilliant artist, and she has drawn characters that I've fallen in love with. And this is an ongoing joke with us that she tends to produce in her lovely artwork some of the most compelling and finest characters, not just the way they look, but their personalities, and they're so complex and they're so compelling that I have found myself at times dreaming about her artwork. So, thank you, Kaylene. My understanding is that your band is it around midnight or round midnight? Round midnight, right. Well, I'd actually like to conclude by reading a poem for you, Kaylene, Mrs. Kaylene Mowry. And it's called She Walks in Beauty. It is by Lord Byron, and it's widely recognized as one of the most important, if not well-known, romantic poems in the history of English poetry, but I want to put a little twist on it. She walks in beauty. She walks in beauty round midnight, of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best, dark and bright, meet in her aspect and her eyes, thus melded to that tender light which heaven to gaudy day denies. One shade the more, one ray the less, had half impaired the nameless grace which waves in every raven tress, or softly lightens o'er her face, where thoughts serenely sweet express how pure, how dear, their dwelling place. And on that cheek and over that brow, so soft, so calm, so eloquent, the smiles that win, the tints that glow, but tell of days and goodness spent, a mind at peace with all below, a heart whose love is innocent. Thank you.
Before we get the big band up here, we've got one more speech, and that is, I'd like to call to the stage Peter Libretta. He is Christian's mentor in ecology. Is Peter around? Can we find him? Can we grab him? Here he is. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our exceptional man, Peter Libretta. You can stand down there, absolutely. Here you go.
Can you hear me? I hate these things. I'm in these things. I'm hoping too old to get up the stairs. It's not that I'm suffering dementia. I think it's early onset rigor mortis. It's getting untangled. Kaylene, I'll speak to you in a moment. I don't know you as well as I know. What are you again? Right. I met Kristen about a decade ago. We were at a prestige university, which I won't name, in case there are any executives here watching. But we were in a big sea of teachers, tutors, lecturers, what have you. And I think I might have been the only man amongst a sea of middle-aged women. Well, that was all very well until this whippersnapper came along, and young and feisty and full of challenging questions. And we developed an immediate friendship, right? And we talked, and we challenged, and we asked about this and asked about that, much to the astonishment of the establishment. And we have one big thing in common. Several, but this is the one I'll mention. And that is, we both got fired from this prestigious institution on the same day. He's recovered, but I haven't. No, that's not quite true. Actually, his response was to go and talk to them and say, why? What's going on here? And I'm not quite sure what sort of answers he got. But I was far more circumspect and proper. I wrote a very polite letter asking for explanations. What? Why did they get rid of me? I got no reply. But for Christian, I'm sure it was a blessing as it's turned out. We never know what the consequences of what seems to be good or bad happen to be. And I think the same thing is true for me. In fact, a mutual friend of ours, who we've both done courses with, said to me, "Peter, congratulations, you've been found not guilty of following educational objectives and you've been released from the institution." So Christian, very pleased to have you as a friend. And Kaylene, he's a better man because you're in his life. And that's saying something. Obviously, and I suspect the reverse is true. I don't know you well enough to know that. But blessings to you both, and may your relationship be long, happy, and ever growing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 5-minute break and the big band is about to come back on. We're going to dance for another 45 minutes and then we're going to do some more. Enjoy the hospitality, enjoy the drinks, enjoy the night. We will see you back here in 45 minutes.
Jackie, Jesus, Jackie, my friends. This is the last bracket of planned speeches. After this, the band's going to perform, hard liquor is going to be produced, and then later in the night there's going to be sloppy speeches. Strap yourself in. But this is the last bracket for planned speeches. I'm so excited, I have no idea what's going to happen. She does? Okay, I'm glad to have your attention. Thank you for listening.
Lucky I do. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for an incredible human. I'm calling Howie. Welcome to the stage. Here you go. Hello.
My mouth is switching. Good evening, everybody. My name is Harry.
G'day, Harry.
I am delighted to be here, and you all look wonderful and enchanting, which is commendable because we are not at the start of this event. Now, no one is more surprised than me to inform you that in 6 months' time, it will have been 15 years since I first met Christian Maoris through our mutual participation in the production of No, A Wild Night. Wild Night was a combination of Oscar Wilde's plays, where our man of the hour, over here, was required to lounge about for 2 hours naked as the character Bosie. He also wore a hat. Why is this significant? Well, dear people, it was auspicious, is all I'm saying. Auspicious that in a play about a man whose gift to the world was drawing back the curtains of pretense and finding amusement in the absurdity of all our little rituals and worries. Auspicious that two friends should meet and bond over the same habit of just noticing. Watching and noticing. And so, the root of our friendship is camaraderie. I love this man because we shift through the world in, I think, quite similar ways. Chris, of course, went on to become a professional noticer. He got so good at it, I'm sure you've all seen that he was able to start a business where people come to him to have things noticed because they can't notice everything they want to by themselves. Remarkable. It would be my honour to stand here and continue to heap praise upon Christian, but you all want to party and speeches can grow stale no matter how well intentioned. I could say much more, but to share what I feel makes my friendship with Christian unique is enough. I really wanted to make a joke about Chris doing an ethnomethodological study of marriage, but my wife cautioned me against it. And so, against my lesser judgment, I think it's time I conclude my ode to Chris, and I invite you all to marvel at the joyous union of these two fabulous units before us. Christian, Kaylene. That's your portmanteau name. I'm privileged to witness your commitment to each other tonight. I'm grateful to have been a part of it, but mostly for the both of you. I am so excited to see where it's going to take you next. I love you both. Now, those that know me know that I have a fondness for words and poetry, so I'll leave you with a brief poem I wrote in honour of this occasion, the form chosen for Christian's Irish heritage. There once was a man from Fremantle, and social norms he liked to dismantle. Met a lass who was bubbly, took away all his troubling. May your adventures be as unfinished as this poem. To you guys! Thank you.
Put your hands together for Natalie. Favourite poem of the night. We have 4 more speeches to go, so I'd like to call to the stage. We have Zoe, or Freya, or Guy, or Andrew.
Thanks, Harry, for your unfinished poem, because I never quite got to think through the end of my little talk either. So, and I'm Zoe from the dog park, and that's saying it because that's how I met Christian and Kaylene. And it was a deliberate strategy of mine after moving back to WA, having been gone to Sydney for about 3 decades. And my strategy was to go to the dog park as a third space to meet different people and non-academic, I'm a retired academic, so non-academic people. Lo and behold, I met an ex-academic and Kaylene, and I have to say, it's been a huge leap forward in my social life in Perth, because as an academic, I'm used to having people of a younger generation than me in my life, and I don't have children. So to meet Christian and Kaylene and other of their friends, including Ryan and others, I've met the wonderful bridesmaids and so on, it's just been really fantastic to make me feel more of a whole person. But more particularly about Christian and Kaylene, I mean, I just absolutely love them. I love Christian's impertinent and intrusive questions and conversational interventions, and I love Kaylene's enthusiasm for a psychedelic kind of ancient life and her vividness, and I'm really glad that we haven't heard too much today about love and two becoming one, because that sort of thing makes me vomit. And instead, I like to think of Kaylene and Christian as a kind of a binary star that, I don't want them to see them become one. I think the fact that they are different, that they throw sparks off each other, that they whirl around like in their dancing, and that they are a kind of a vortex of energy is to be inspiring. And I think, as you said, Christian, in your speech about people helping make you a better person, and you each make each other a better people. And that doesn't mean becoming the same people. It means going on in your feisty, different, spirally, the way. So thank you.
I think that might be my favourite speech of the night. Do we have Freya? Is Freya with us? Here she comes. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Freya.
Hi everyone, I'm Freya. I was just sitting there thinking when I was standing up on stage in the bridal party earlier at the beginning, and I scanned the room and I looked at everybody and I thought, it cannot get more Freo than this. And it's so classic of these two. They're as Freo as it gets, the prince and princess of Fremantle right there. I would say king and queen, but you need to be a little bit older, I think. When I saw Kaylene standing up doing her first speech, I think 3 words came to mind, which was mystical, magical, and fairy tale. And I feel like you're living your fairy tale dream tonight. Well, I hope so anyway. And Christian, you're a real bringer together of community, and I think that's why we got on so well, or hit it off from, I think it was, we became friends when you released that amazing book about the cat bus that needs to come back. Anyway, also when I see the two of you, yay, bring back the cat bus. But when I saw you two having a big fat pash at the end of your vows, I just thought, and I've thought it many times when I see the two of you together, it's like that familiarity, like you both have played together as kids in other lives, like you're just meant to be two peas in a pod. And it's an honour knowing you both and to be asked to be bridesmaid and to be here tonight and to see all the amazing community together. And I'll finish on a little poem that I didn't write, but I think you all know it. Kaylene and Christian sitting in a tree, K-I-S-S-I-N-G. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes little babies living in a carriage. Making a beautiful baby.
I haven't heard that one since I was 5. Do we have a guy or an Andrew?
So we've just been informed that the band who are performing here out of a generosity of our heart have already gone over. But Kaylene has 2 songs left to sing with them, which she's desperate to sing. So we're going to make that happen. It's very generous of them. And after that, we're going to conclude the speeches. There's only 2 more to go. And they're going to be brilliant. Please enjoy yourselves.
And when me and Chris were growing up with Mum, it was a really close-knit kind of setup. It was just me, Christian, and our Mum. So there wasn't many of us. But I just wanted to say how lucky we were that Christian was a part of that family and that we had him. Because we nearly didn't have him because my dad only just conceived Christian before he passed away, so he nearly didn't make it. But here he is, and what a guy. What a guy to have in our family. Everybody knows him, he's not going to do. Kind of guy. And Kaylene, you are like the female version of Christian. So now I feel like blessed again that we have you in our family too. And I just feel really lucky that we have both of you.